What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple new type, and we are back for the search for Asteroth as we continue our coverage of the return of Johnny Ridden. The Chimera Corps and FSS were caught up on what exactly Asteroth and Minaret is. We learned that in order for it to infect Earth, it needs to be injected into a colony first. Also, Arlette explains to Danton her relationship with Shar. Also, we are starting to pick up our coverage of Rise from the Ashes, which is the first manga to introduce Asteroth during the One-Year War. Go check that out. This time, Rimia and the Granada AE engineers create a new Gelgoog that is very similar to the Gamma Gundam. Let and the gang figure out the location of Minaret, and we learn that Arlette is the one who found Quattro's Hyakushiki. So let's get into this. At Granada, Rimia, Amaria, and a few Granada AE engineers are at work designing a mobile suit that can keep up with Char's DJ. We touched on this briefly in the past, but the reason it can be hard in the UC 90s to create mobile suits is because of the standardizations of parts. Do you need something heat resistant? Maybe cold resistant? How many G-forces does this mobile suit need to achieve? What about radiation resistance? You don't want to end up with radiation sickness like the people of Moon Moon. Check out our coverage of Moon Moon to see how 1 out of 10 people are destined to die on Moon Moon because of this. Because of their variability, there are over 10,000 parts that can be combined together to create a mobile suit. But once combined, you must test for said compatibility. If you're a software developer, this is familiar to you. You write your code alone, and then you conduct integration testing to see how it works as a whole. More or less, this is the same for mobile suit development. This process is called mobile suit variation, or MSV. In the real world, MSV is just a way for Bandrise to show off its extra designs for a price. This manga gave the concept of MSV its own backstory within Universal Century. Mind blown. However, this does have a downfall. Making one-off bespoke mobile suits will become very difficult, which is the mobile suit Rimia and the team are trying to make. Randiger Heavy Industries will also come across the same problem in the UC 120s when they try to make their own bespoke mobile suits. Mr. Ida, who is helping out with the team, mentions that the DJ is derived from the Rick Diaz. Also, Ida is rocking UC 50s fashion in the 90s. Bro, a turtleneck with bleach blonde hair and a jet black beard? That certainly is a choice. He says that Hugbald knows a thing or two about the Rick Diaz, suggesting that he was a part of the team that worked with Char and the AU back during Grips, specifically a part of the Gamma Gundam project, which became the Rick Diaz. Ida says that 40% of the parts on their new mobile suit requires bespoke parts. Rimia says that using 40% brand new parts will take 6 months to produce the mobile suit. They have to reject this design. Hugbald's plan B is to get them access to a Gundam for them to modify, but Rimia seems destined to get this right. Hugbald says maybe this will help. He pulls up some Neo Zeon mobile suit data. Up on the screen is 6 mobile suits. We got the Rick Diaz, the Zaku 3, the Dryson, the Baowu, the SZA, my favorite Wu-Tang member, and the Dovin Wolf. Hugbald says that Anaheim Electronics worked out a deal with Neo Zeon to mass produce these 6 units. Haman was planning on total world domination. Too bad she was taken out by the AUG before that happened. And by the AUG, I really mean 6 children who stole a ship. Haman was thinking very far ahead. There are no datasets for variability with these mobile suits, but Rimia can work with this. She looks closely at the Dovin Wolf, aka the AMX-014, so we will learn that this mobile suit is designed off of a Gelgoog, aka the MS-14J. I feel like this should have been a picture of the Gelgoog, but the writer mistook the MS-14J and the AMX-014. Cristobal is on a shuttle meeting with Rimia at Granada. He thinks back to the One-Year War and Roy Greenwood. Roy looks at a picture of Amaria and Rimia and gets nostalgic. He thinks that in this climate, he is never going to see them again. He makes Cristobal promise to give him his regards if he doesn't make it back. He thinks that his commander is being dramatic, but he was right and he never returned, and now Cristobal has to fulfill that promise. Cristobal is going to be the test pilot for the new mobile suit. Led is too busy handling a different part of the mission. He wants to say something to Rimia, but he is hesitant. That is when Amaria comes over and introduces herself. She remembers back in the day, her father would send letters to them, and he would mention Cristobal many times. Rimia doesn't remember any of this. Amaria says after all this is done, he must come pay them a visit as she has so many questions to ask him. Cristobal didn't have to say a thing. Amaria acknowledged his feelings and knew exactly what to say to him. They upload the latest build on the mobile suit and can begin their testing. Meanwhile, a Musai Kai-class ship called the Meretsker is scouting nearby. Cristobal launches in a new model, the Gelgoog Vertex. The MS-14J BR Gelgoog Vertex is a prototype designed by Rimia Greenwood, FSS, and Anaheim Electronics Granada Division. This is made using Gundarium Gamma alloy and has giant booster binders similar to the Gelgoog. Each binder has 3 verniers. It is equipped with the Gelgoog's beam rifle, which doubles as a grenade launcher, the Yagdoga Gatling gun, a beam Naginata, an 8-tube missile pod, and a shield. Each Vertex will be modified for each of its pilots. His mission for the simulation is to take out an Alexandria-class ship using a long-range rifle. 3 mobile suits defend the ship. Cristobal is able to swiftly take them out. He notes that there is a short cooldown on this mobile suit. He goes in and takes out the Alexandria-class ship, UC-0079. On the Chimera, Hugh Markeen Kelvin tells a young Uma that the war is about to be over. Though Xeon as a whole may fail, they must succeed. Hugh looks out to Minaret. Their goal, if all things fall apart, is to ensure that their people make it to Axis. He says that Caecilia's mission is being obfuscated by someone. Uma thinks that it is Shar, but Hugh tells him that it is none other than Garen Zabi. He tells Uma to keep that to himself and to not tell even Ingrid. He says after this is all over, he will be long gone, but he is giving Uma access to something called package number 6 that is located in his room. He is counting on him to carry out the mission once he is gone. In the present, Uma looks at an access key and says he isn't a kid anymore and will fulfill his mission. Uma seems to be hiding something from the rest of the team. Bob and Aishwarya are sharing some labs with PMC Themis when they get a message that they will meet up with Minaret in 10 days. Also, Bob says that Aishwarya looks cute. She's also still talking about chocolates. I think that's all this girl talks about. She likes sweets because she's a girl. Ida and another engineer talk to Amaria in the break room. He mentions that the 2 of them used to work for Shar back in the day. The 2 were former Xeon soldiers as well. One day, Shar came to them with a new form of Gundarium alloy. This was Gundarium Gamma. If you watched our coverage of Shar's deleted affair and Zeta Define, this was mainly due to the genius that is Sumeri Hongo. With this, they created Gamma Gundam, which then evolved into the Rick Diaz. The development history of the Gamma Gundam is similar to the new Gelgoog Vertex, as it too has Gundarium Gamma. Maria asks about the new verniers on the Vertex. The name Vertex comes from the thrusters created initially for GPO-2. Of course, none of this mobile suit technology was ever disclosed. I guess they could just slip that tech into something new and call it theirs? That's sneaky. Ida also mentions that due to the extensive testing done by the test pilot, they were able to iterate on thrusters faster than usual, which is why it makes for the perfect verniers for Vertex. Of course, we know Shar's test pilot is Danton. Throughout these past 2 chapters, people have been hinting that Shar's test team is on a whole different level. This is absolutely in part due to Arlette and Danton making such a great team. This long-winded story is all for Ida to say that he is certain that the DJ pilot is most certainly Shar. No one told him. He could just tell from the mobile suit development alone. He looks at Amaria, then pulls out an audio bug that was planted by her from under the table. He speaks directly into the bug and says he is not at liberty to say, but in a backhanded way says that Shar is still alive. They thank Amaria for her time and the engineers leave the break room. I'm sorry for making fun of your fashion. That was a pretty badass move. Now, Leopold Feiseller knows for sure that Shar is alive. Led, Jacobius, Hugball, Simmons, Oxner, and Hoover are in the Sangre Azul. They look at a map which looks like a planetarium show. Even with the Sangre Azul, the ship only provides an estimate of where Minaret could be located. This is because the fuel emissions from the organic ship is minimal, and a lot of data is just carbon emission byproducts. After they all get a little nostalgic, they activate the tracker on the ship. It shows that Minaret's current trajectory is on course to swing around a Bawaku. All of this work just to find out that it is exactly in the same location where you left it. Womp womp. This is also where the Chimera Corps disbanded. Seaman wonders if this is Hugh's way to bring the Chimera Corps back together again. Back at the Themis Observatory, which happens to be in Jaburo, Aishwarya and Bob receive the coordinates from the team on the Sangre Azul. At Sweetwater, Arlette complains about Shar destroying the DJ. During this complaint, we learn what mobile suits she has made for Shar. The Gelgoog R, the Jiang, and most importantly, the Hyaku Hyakushiki. We get a flashback of Arlette looking at the remains of the mobile suit. She and her team were the ones who tracked down the Hyakushiki remains. Of course, no one was in the cockpit and the black box was removed after Quattro disappeared during grips. She and Danton did the only thing they knew how to do, start a dry cleaning business. However, they eventually learned that Shar is still alive and they got pulled back into helping his cause. Aishwarya, Bob, and the PMC Themis team on the ground analyze the data and are able to pinpoint the exact location of Minaret. Aishwarya is excited to head back into space. They sent an encrypted version of the data down to Earth, but now that they have the exact location, they're going to deliver it directly. Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense, but let Aishwarya go to space. Look at how happy she is. As important as this is, the data means absolutely nothing to anyone that isn't Shar or Gop. It is, after all, just random ship coordinates. This is the first time Jacobius' team is transmitting encrypted messages into Earth's atmosphere, as his focus has been always on Earth. Oxnard points to Luna 2 and says they are the ones that we should be worried about. Meanwhile, on Luna 2, Ingrid's Gundam is being equipped with old Xeon bits. These are Lala's bits. The Red Gundam isn't the first one to use these bits, apparently. They also don't have charging pods, so these bits are a one-time use. Gop comes over to Yazan and Ingrid and informs them that they noticed a signal being sent out towards Jaburo. They are already working on tracking where the signal came from and where Minaret is. Yazan has a moment and says, "Hey man, what if you use these funnels and control them with a joystick?" Bro, that's not how Psychomu tech works. Oh no, the psychopath Yazan from Zeta is starting to become the dum-dum Yazan from Double Zeta. Meanwhile, Rimia is testing the Vertex Testarossa. Each pilot gets a Vertex designed to their needs. This one is for Johnny Ridden. Ida tells Rimia that she is a mighty fine mobile suit developer. And that will do it for this episode. We are reaching the final lap of the return of Johnny Ridden as we race towards the end of the story. Like the Gamma Gundam, so too does the Gelgoog Vertex share in its development history. They are mono-eyed Gundams, the best of the Federation and Zeon's engineering. Also, we get to see Rimia stretch her engineering skills. Although she plays an engineering role with FSS, it certainly doesn't do her skills any justice. Next time, everyone prepares for the final battle, and we see the Chimera Corps' final briefing. Uma Lightning tries out the Gelgoog Vertex Cureños, and we flash back to Hugh Marquine Kelvin's death during the One-Year War. But that will do it for this episode, New Types. Remember, with mobile suit variation, there's so many possibilities for mobile suits. It's just a matter of testing. Peace.